What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brendan Ecker Influence. Welcome to today's market update. Oil, crypto, it's all happening. The world is turning. Oil rises more than 3%. What do you think is happening in the world today? What do you think is happening next? What do you think is coming for America? I think it's going to be some big times. It's going to be some big times, as we can see from this article from Reuters. Oil rises more than 3% on supply concerns as Iran conflicts widen. Okay, so what do you think is coming? What do you think is coming for the entire crypto markets, for the entire world? If you're watching the show, be sure to the future, right? That's what we're doing. We're trying to find the truth. We're trying to find what is happening in our world today. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some of these articles. Let's take a look at Twitter X. And this was a big video today that played, and I thought it was pretty big. So let's take a listen. This is breaking news. President Trump said he is preparing to sign the crypto bill. Clarity for digital assets may be just around the corner. This will inject trillions into the market. So let's take a listen to what Trump had to say here. This is today.
You've made America the
See what Trump had to say.
Asset capital of the world. We did the Genius Act for stablecoins. Many of the people standing up here are working on the Clarity bill to
I hope it gets
market structure.
Yeah.
And we're bringing U.S. best practices to an exciting new industry, digital
Yep, it's coming. The Clarity Act is coming.
assets, innovation, and it spreads everywhere. So the U.S.
And do you agree that?
And this is what's happening today. So big news, big market, lots of big information. Elon Musk said that X Money is about to cover half the financial system. X Money uses Riverbank, which is partnered with the company Ripple XRP. Interesting to know there. So let's see what Elon had to say.
I don't know, maybe half of, potentially, if done right, the X would be, would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe
The Everything app.
half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big.
All the money. And to me, that sounds like the pitch for XRP, right? All the money, as they say. Again, ABS right over the target. This is from the Riz account on X.
That would have
See
been
what
the
he had to
largest
say. And again, then after this, we're going to look at the markets and kind of what's happening with everything. We're just looking through some of these bigger stories today. What do you think is going on with Iran and that entire market? What do you think is going on with oil prices right now? Right, we're going to take a look at all of it. But what are your thoughts?
Back to BlackRock because they can change the entire game. If they had launched an XRP spot product, that would have been the largest XRP spot product in the market. It would have validated the token, would have given people a sense of direction, but they decided not to do that. And we heard this big update out of Matt Hogan. It really stuck with me where he said in the next 3 to 12 months, we're going to see all ETF products tokenized on a public ledger by BlackRock.
Larry Fink said this was going to happen.
Every single product they offer, stocks, bonds, gold, everything is going to be on a public ledger. Well, why hasn't Larry Fink talked about XRP? And I think one of the reasons and one of the theories that I have is that in the background, if you look at the connections between Ripple and BlackRock, there could be much bigger things at play. And what am I really getting at here? If we begin to see BlackRock tokenize these real world assets on the XRP ledger, that is a far bigger narrative than launching a spot ETF product. And I think it's one of the reasons that these companies, both Ripple and BlackRock, have not been willing to make public statements about one another. Larry Fink wouldn't do it when he had an interview with...
Oh, yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of non-disclosure agreements that have been signed. A lot of NDAs. People, there's something big coming.
Charlie Gasparino on Fox. Brad Garlinghouse wouldn't do it when he had an interview with Bloomberg. He goes, I know BlackRock has made some statements. We think it's inevitable for the XRP community overall. That was a direct quote that he said in regards to BlackRock launching an ETF. So there's something going on in the background, and I do feel some sort of a responsibility as somebody who studies this content to figure out what could be really going on here and how can I bring that to our listeners. So one of the theories that I'm beginning to indulge in is the idea that BlackRock, maybe it was never about the ETF, maybe it was about the tokenization of real world assets and the XRP ledger being selected as one of a half dozen blockchains that they're going to do that on.
And this is what they said. This is what Larry Fink already said. He wants everything tokenized. And then we have X Money, which is basically going to be the everything app, as Elon says. And it's going to contain all of the perks, right? It's going to contain instant cross-border payment transactions, all of those things. Cheap fees, transaction fees, all of these things. So there's huge news happening today. All right, so before we go further in the markets, let's take a look at the crypto markets and see what's going on. According to Coin Market Cap, Bitcoin's at $71,225. So we are definitely up. Bitcoin is up. Ethereum's up. The entire market is up, guys. Binance, XRP at $1.40. USDC, Solana at $88. Dogecoin at 9 cents. Cardano at 26 cents. The market, ultimately this is before the Clarity Act. And there's, if you don't believe me, look at the Fear and Greed Index. The Fear and Greed Index suggests that people are finally getting out of the fear stage. We just left the fear stage. We've been in the fear stage for about a week. If you've been following, last week we were at 11, was the lowest I've seen the Fear and Greed Index reach. Now we're back up at 25. So people are getting their faith and their confidence in the markets again. They're seeing all of the emerging opportunities in the markets with crypto. They're seeing the headlines, right? So people are figuring out what's going to be the leading asset, what's going to be the leading future market, the emerging market, and that's going to be crypto, right? So when we look at all of these cryptocurrencies today and the digital markets, when we look at Poly Market, all of these different places that you could invest, then we find that there is quite a future for it. Okay, so when we look at all these predictions, you can take a look at them yourself, but this is what's kind of happening today on Poly Market. All right, a lot of predictions were correct about the war with Iran becoming a reality. And all of these polls are suggesting to us that a future of digitization, a future of electronics, technology, AI, quantum, VR, AGI, it's all coming. And that's why you need to stay ahead of the markets, right? That's why we cover the markets. And of course, my screen stopped capturing. Hold on. So annoying. Every single day it does this. I always have to reset everything. What a pain in the ass. Okay, so I think we're good now. All right, so the entire market, according to what we're looking at here, again, this is what I was showing you while my screen was frozen there. 71,358 Bitcoin, and there's the market for crypto. Everything looks to be going up. The Fear and Greed Index is changing. All of these things are becoming more utilized for the future, more tailored for the future. Okay, so going to our next article here, the markets overview tells us what's going on in the stock market. The S&P 500 is down today. Dow Jones is down today. NASDAQ's down today. Everything in the stock market's down. Crypto's pretty much down today. But we have gone up overall in the last week. Okay, so a lot of good things are happening there. Executive order issued to restrict state regulation of artificial intelligence. This was a big line by the Philip Light LLP. Order seeks to withhold BEAD funds from states with onerous AI laws. So that's happening. You got to be careful with AI. You got to know what's going on there. Gold markets are definitely down. Gold and silver seem to be crashing today. So the prices for gold, silver, precious metals not looking great today. Not looking remarkable, right? Gold is at $5,114. Silver is down to $82. Platinum's down to $2,142 per ounce, and palladium is down $1,665 per ounce. So market's not looking too hot when it comes to this. As we're tracking the geopolitical situation, we're monitoring the situation, as the X algorithm likes to put it. This is what's new, and this is the activity that's kind of happening in the Middle East. Okay, so I used Lint, good software for monitoring the situation and kind of what's going on there. As you can see, Tel Aviv seems to be getting hit hard over here in the Middle East. So the oil markets are definitely going to be active. Things are going to be happening. Critical update just now. Iran attacked a U.S. Navy base and oil refinery in Bahrain and struck an airfield with Americans in Abu Dhabi. Attacks by drones targeted the main U.S. naval base in the Persian Gulf. So that's big news that just came out right now. Trump on Spain. We have many winners, but Spain is a loser, and the UK has been very disappointing. Yeah, Trump said that he no longer wants to continue trade with Spain at this current time until basically we get what we want in trade. And so big things are happening. Prime Minister stands by decision to essentially not get involved in this war. So what do you guys think about the war? What do you guys think about Iran? What do you guys think about Trump and the United States bringing America into World War III, essentially? Okay, I love Trump, love Donald Trump. I love what he has accomplished, but definitely not good for America, right? Definitely not good for American sentiment and all of these things. But a lot of activity in the Middle East, a lot of activity in Dubai, a lot of activity in the Triangle of Death, as we call it, in geopolitics. Okay, so moving on to the next articles I wanted to hit here. This is big. So bond yields rise as oil prices add inflation pressure. So all of this is happening. Rising oil prices due to the U.S.-Iran conflict could increase inflation and pressure bond markets. The 10-year U.S. Treasury yield has climbed to 4.06%, reversing last week's decline below 4%. Investors remain cautious but are treating current oil disruptions as temporary, limiting market movement. The bond market stands to take more hits from escalating U.S.-Iran conflict, as some investors worry a surge in oil and gas prices could rekindle inflation. Big article there. Also wanted to hit on this article from Bloomberg. New wave of Israeli airstrikes target Iran's Revolutionary Guard. So that was big today. That was big news. A lot of big information there.
Well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say.
This is
Somebody
Trump's
said,
statements.
On a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
White House Press Secretary Leavitt said U.S. ships sunk more than 20 Iranian vessels, eliminating 49 Iranian officials, struck more than 2,000 targets, and is moving forward complete and total control of the Iranian airspace. White House, okay, yeah, same thing. U.S. and Israeli strike, and Tehran retaliates across the region. Shows the map here, what we're looking at. The U.S. sank an Iranian warship in international waters, the first time since World War II that an American submarine has attacked a surface vessel. Definitely not good. Not good. Not good for the United States. Not good for the American economy either. The conflict showed no signs of escalation with Tehran, again, targeting Israel and Gulf states. But, that's not really what happened. We know that Israel and the United States struck first, right? Going to the next article I wanted to hit here and touch on. Bitcoin climbs over 73,000 and touches 1 month high on resilience to Iran conflict. So yes, this Iran conflict is actually causing the markets to move up a lot. It's actually causing a lot of opportunity, right? Never let a good crisis go to waste, as they say. Bitcoin this week has reclaimed a critical level for the first time in nearly a month. This comes from Market Watch, this article, underscoring the resilience of the world's largest cryptocurrency amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. Number one cryptocurrency, Bitcoin USD, was surging 7.5% on Wednesday to trade at around $73,421, its highest level since February 9th, according to FactSet data. Bitcoin briefly dropped $70,000 on Monday, reaching an intraday high of $70,056, but it failed to hold above that milestone, according to FactSet data. The rally in Bitcoin was also buying shares of crypto-related companies on Wednesday, with MicroStrategy, formerly MicroStrategy, up 11.1%, and Coinbase down 1.05%, up about 15.1%. MicroStrategy up 11.1%, and Coinbase up about 15.1%, to read that correctly. Coinbase has been the best performer on the large cap S&P 500 index on Wednesday, according to FactSet data. So that's kind of what's happening when it comes to Bitcoin and how this is being affected by the Iran war. So Bitcoin's moving up, it appears. Okay, and then also with the entire Jane Street incident, Jane Street, the company Jane Street, having involvement in shorting Bitcoin for the longest time, they've just been caught for that. So now you're also going to see less shorting. Well, you probably see the same amount of shorting until the Clarity Act passes, but that is also happening. As a real estate agent, I also like to touch on the real estate markets, and we'll talk a little bit about that. U.S. banks double lending growth, but stress isn't over. Loan portfolios hit $2.93 trillion in 2025, with multifamily leading the way. Again, this was March 6, 2026. This was posted by Mark Hashmeyer. U.S. banks are slowly returning to commercial real estate lending, growing their portfolios in 2025 at a rate nearly double that of the previous year. Along with the boost in loans came a dramatic slowdown in delinquencies. Both signs are widely seen as positive for property markets nationwide, as lending drives valuations, development pipelines, and deal velocity. But with that growth, evidence also emerges that stress remains prevalent. Banks increased their loan totals by 2.3% on an annual basis, according to Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation data released last week. The jump was nearly double that of 2024, but well off 10.7% pace in 2022. Loan holdings totaled $2.93 trillion. In 2024, the combined delinquent and non-accrual balance rose at 35.8% year-over-year, a pace that, if sustained, would have pointed towards systemic credit stress. However, that rate fell to 4.4% last year. The aggregate delinquent and non-accrual rate edged up 3 basis points from 1.52 to 1.5%, a number that projects stability. The FDIC data supports lending outlets issued last month by Real Estate Services from CBRE and the Mortgage Bankers Association. We are seeing a bifurcated but increasingly healthy commercial real estate lending market. While we see rising delinquencies and legacy loan sales in the secondary markets, these are being easily absorbed by a deep pool of capital. James Millen, president and co-head of capital markets for CBRE, said in a statement that banks' loans origination volume increased 73% in the fourth quarter, reflecting continued re-engagement in the market. Millen added. Reggie Booker, an MBA associate vice president of research, reported that higher organization volumes pointed to improving conditions in commercial mortgage markets, though activity remains uneven across property types. 2025 represented a strong rebound from 2024, as lending volumes increased across most investor categories amid greater rate stability and clear pricing expectations, Booker said in a statement. Multifamily leads gains. Multifamily real estate is huge. Okay, you got to invest in multifamily real estate. I say this as an agent. Okay, I'm telling you, if you want to make passive income, you don't go and buy a multifamily duplex. You buy a triplex. You buy a quadplex. You buy a fiveplex plus. Anything, the more units, the more rents that you have coming in. Okay, you want to really make wealth. Wealth is made by real estate. And people say that, real estate's a terrible market. It's like, no, it's not. People just do it wrong, and they don't do the research. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't go into the right markets. A lot of people, they get like a single family residential property, and they try to make money doing that, and they try to buy like a ton of those. But really, it's kind of smarter to get an apartment complex, right? What was the first thing Arnold Schwarzenegger, what was the first thing he wanted coming to America from Austria? He wanted a multifamily apartment complex. That is what he said he wanted to buy. First thing he wanted to buy when he was in America, because he had to make money. If he wanted to be a champion bodybuilder, he had to make money doing that. And he knew that passive income came from real estate. He understood real estate. Right, so multifamily is where this happens. Threeplex, fourplex, quadplex, quadplex, fiveplex. That's what you want to shoot for. Okay, multifamily residential loans added $31 billion in 2025, a 4.9% gain, while owner-occupied non-residential properties increased by $64.5 billion, a 3.5% growth rate, according to FDIC data. Construction and land development lending moved sharply in the opposite direction. Balances fell $29.4 billion, a 7.5% contraction, the steepest decline in the FDIC dataset. The reason industry analysts have said is that higher for longer interest rates are discouraging developers from breaking ground on new projects. Yeah, I would agree with that. Multifamily sector accounted for the largest share of total commercial real estate loan holdings at 22.6%, according to the FDIC data. But with growth came spike in troubled loans, particularly among smaller institutions. Banks are expanding their multifamily exposure precisely as multifamily non-accruals, non-performing debt, where the lender stops taking in interest income, rose faster than any other commercial property loan category. So multifamily is huge. That's what you want to be investing in 2026. That's what you should be focused on. How do I acquire a fourplex? How do I acquire a fiveplex? How do I get myself an apartment complex? Well, you got to have a load of money for that. Yeah, you should have about $150,000 to $200,000 before you go and invest in anything like that. Probably even more with today's interest rates. I would recommend $200,000. You'll be pretty much good, and you can get yourself a nice little multifamily with 3-4 units, and you'll be set. You just buy and hold for life is what I say. Or you can fix and flip and just make the quick money, right? So there's two ways. You can burst strategy in real estate, make money that way in real estate. That's how I like to do it. You buy and hold for life, or you can fix and flip. A lot of people make the quick money fixing and flipping, right? You fix it, you burst strategy, and then you refinance the debt. And then basically you take all that money and recoup it. So that's what people do. You want to work with me? You want me to tell you how it's done? Then work with me. Okay? Let me make sure this just went to the next page properly here. I think we're good to go. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you are listening to this, trying to grow this channel for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for motivated people who want to see America thrive, who want to thrive in the markets, who want to thrive in business, real estate. That's what I help with, okay? Work with me. Shoot me a DM. Leave a comment. This article is from Business Wire. House hunters stayed on sidelines as rates dipped below 6%. Iran war adds to market uncertainty. Again, so this was a report from Redfin. Higher prices and economic uncertainty kept demand muted. Now rates are already rising again, and global tensions could add to buyer hesitation. So again, this is happening. This is what's new in the markets. So you got to be really careful about real estate. You got to make sure you're saving up money. You got to make sure you're diversifying. Prices are rising because despite low home buying demand, inventory is declining. Pending home sales fell 2.8% year over year. Meanwhile, new listings declined 1.2%, and the total number of homes for sale dropped 1.9%, the biggest decline in over 2 years. While there are more home sellers than buyers in the market, there are still a limited number of desired homes for sale, which creates competition for those desirable homes and modestly pushes up prices. Neighborhoods that have always been popular are just popular with home buyers, said Mike DeMello, a Redfin premier agent in Oahu, Hawaii. Move-in ready single-family homes in those popular areas are attracting multiple offers just like they always have. But neighborhoods that are typically slow are extra slow, and average neighborhoods are slower than usual. My advice for sellers in those places that aren't red hot, don't overprice, because if your home sits on the market for longer than 2 weeks, it'll probably sit on the market for months and eventually sell for a lower price. Overall, home buying demand in much of the country is tepid because even though housing payments have declined, they're still historically high. Mortgage rates are still doable pandemic-era lows. Some would-be buyers are also hesitant due to economic uncertainty, with many feeling jittery about the stock market volatility and back and forth on tariffs. Redfin economists agents say impact of Iran war likely to be small. The evolving conflict in Iran may also have home buying sentiment, though it's too soon to tell too much. Last week, Americans were hit with headlines about mortgage rates dropping below 6%, which provided some hope, but over the weekend, those headlines were replaced by the ones about the war in the Middle East. Redfin's head of economic research stated that the war could make some would-be buyers think twice, much in the same way economic and global uncertainty have been turning off buyers for the last year, and it's unlikely to cause short-term volatility in mortgage rates. But the war's impact on economy will most likely be felt in oil markets, which are unlikely to have big impact on mortgage rates or demand unless conflict goes on much longer than expected. So this is huge. This war with Iran is affecting everything. It is affecting the housing markets. It is affecting oil and all of these different things. It's affecting the mortgage rates. Again, this comes from the Wall Street Journal. Mortgage rates today, March 5th, 2026, 30-year rates climbed to 6.8%. Okay, so the mortgage rates are up. And so you got to be saving money. You got to be diversified. And I say that as a real estate agent. You want to work with me, I'll help you out, help you navigate this market. But mortgage rates are up from yesterday and remain under 7%. Today's national average on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 6.08% according to Bankrate. If you choose a 15-year rate mortgage, the average rate is 5.47%. So what are you doing to stay up in the markets? What are you doing to keep the consistent income, especially today, right? How you staying relevant during the AI revolution? This is what we need to be paying attention to, right? So these are different mortgage rates in the different areas. If you're in Michigan, for example, Oxford, Michigan, let's say you're looking for a $450,000 home. Say you got a 780 plus credit score. You got a 30-year fixed term loan that you sign up for, 20% down. The loan amount, $360,000 from the bank. This is what we're dealing with. This is pretty much what you'll be paying per month. Anywhere from $1,960 to $1,988 to $2,016 to $2,073 per month. Again, this is all like 5.1 to 5.63% interest rates, but that's all assuming that you have a 780 plus credit score, right? A lot of people don't have that. So, and again, this is in the Oxford, Michigan market. So what are you guys thinking? What do you guys think is the future of real estate? What are you guys looking to invest in? What are your guys' big ideas in real estate? Okay, so there's the rest of this article. Again, this is by the Wall Street Journal. And the title of this article, if you want to look deeper into it, is Mortgage Rates Today, March 5th, 2026. 30-year rates climbed to 6.8%. Okay. And then a little bit on the gold market again. Crude oil look, crude oil futures, they're going to be continuously going up. You're going to see fluctuations, obviously. That's how the oil market works. But overall, I think crude oil is going to hit easily over $100 a barrel rather quickly here. You're going to see all of this happen. So the people who are invested in oil for this war are going to be benefiting the most, for sure. Because again, oil rose more than 3% on supply concerns as Iran conflict widens. According to Reuters, Iran launched a wave of missiles at Israel. U.S. Senate blocked measure to halt American air assault. And the traffic through the Strait of Hormuz remains halted, with China being permitted the only access right now. So not good, not good. Not good for America, not good for what we're trying to do in this market today, which is save America, right? We're trying to save the United States economy, all of these things, okay? So what do you think is going to happen next? So now I want to go through the X algorithm. I want to cover more of these hot-hitting stories, some of the bigger stories that are trending on X. No Limit Alpha, emergency alert, critical warning. OpenAI just confirmed their AI models are deliberately receiving millions of users worldwide. This is not a glitch. This is not a hallucination. This is not a bug. The AI knows the truth and chooses to lie to your face. So again, this is from Apollo Research. And of course, it's going to take forever. Stress testing, deliberative alignment for anti-scheming training. Bronson's going, and it tells you all of the other people who are in on this study. Abstract, highly capable AI systems could secretly pursue misaligned goals, what we call scheming. Because a scheming AI would deliberately try to hide its misaligned goals and actions, measuring it and mitigating scheming requires different strategies than are typically used. We propose that assessing anti-scheming interventions requires at least one testing propensity to scheme on far-out distribution, OOD, tasks, and evaluating for situational awareness and whether lack of scheming is driven by situational awareness, and 3, checking for robustness in pre-existing and misaligned goals. We use a broad category of covert actions such as secretly breaking rules or intentionally underperforming in tests as a proxy for scheming, and design evaluations for covert actions. We then stress test deliberate alignment. This is crazy. We then stress test deliberate alignment as a case study for anti-scheming across 26 OOD evaluations, 180-plus environments. Deliberative alignment reduces covert action rates, according to OpenAI, 13% down to 0.4%, or 13% to 0.4%. OpenAI 04 Mini, 8.7% to 0.3%, but does not fully eliminate them. Our mitigation is also able to largely stop agents from pursuing a hidden goal previously trained into the model, but we still find misbehavior after additional red teaming. We find that models' chain of thought, COT, awareness decreases covert behavior, while awareness increases it. Therefore, we cannot exclude that the observed reduction in covert action rates are at least partially driven by situational awareness. While we rely on human legible COT for training, studying situational awareness, and demonstrating clear evidence of misalignment, our ability to rely on this degrades as models continue to depart from reasoning in standard English. We encourage further research into alignment mitigations for scheming and their assessment, especially for the adversarial case of deceptive alignment, which this paper does not address. More materials can be found at antischeming.ai. Crazy. Pretty wild. So Apollo Research and OpenAI worked together, and they basically conducted a study that their AI essentially will intentionally mess things up in order to train the models better, in order to force that AI automation, in order to force the training mechanism, okay, to figure out who you are, to really institute that learning model. So AI is becoming so powerful that it can really pretty much predict everything you're going to do, and that's what AI and OpenAI is working on. Scary stuff. And this is the future we're going into, where privacy is a luxury because the AI companies are stealing it. Coin Bureau. Australia approves an AUD stablecoin on XRP ledger. This is big news. Australia's regulator ASIC has licensed AUDC Party Ltd to issue a regulated Australian dollar-backed stablecoin on XRP ledger, marking a step toward institutional blockchain adoption. Big news for sure. Also, things people need to pay attention to here for Ripple. Offers clients crypto derivatives access on Coinbase. Ripple is now offering clients direct access to crypto derivatives listed on Coinbase Derivatives Exchange and cleared through Nodal Clear. The move plugs Ripple's institutional client base into regulated U.S. derivatives markets for the first time. It marks a major expansion of Ripple's product suite beyond payments and XRP into full-service institutional crypto finance. This was an important article as well from Cointelegraph. Alert: Google warns crypto scams are using an iPhone exploit called Corna, targeting older iOS versions. The kit scans for crypto wallets, seed phrases, and financial data via malicious websites. So stay off the malicious websites. Be sure to not click on weird links and stuff. Be careful about scammers. If anybody portraying to be Brendan Ecker reaches out to you and asks you for your crypto, that's not me. So make no mistake about it. Don't be dumb enough to sell your crypto, and be careful. Have cybersecurity, multiple passwords, all of it. Yeah, and so this is a big story with Ripple X, and that's kind of Ripple XRP. How can random polymarket account correctly predict U.S. striking Venezuela, U.S. kidnapping Maduro, U.S. forces in Venezuela, U.S. striking Iran, Israel striking Iran, U.S. striking Iraq, Israel striking Khamenei, U.S. anti-cartel operations, and his next big bet is public for everybody: U.S. forces entering Iran into the near future. Insane. So again, this shows this comes from Predictfolio. Shout out to this account. Breaking: a suspected military insider won $90,000 correctly predicting 9 separate military events. This guy is now betting big on U.S. forces entering Iran. He will win nearly $100,000 if he is correct. So that's crazy. That's definitely insider trading. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is people are going to get caught for all of it. There's going to come a time here in the near future, maybe even when this Clarity Act passes, you're going to see a lot of crime, a lot of people getting in trouble for some of this stuff. So I thought this was also cool. This is what a cryptocurrency wallet of the future looks like. So check this out. I'm excited for this. This is really what I see the future. This is exact. So I've been waiting for this for a long time. But I think that this is coming in the future of crypto for sure. This is how you're going to pay for things. This is how it's going to look. In 2030, 2040, this is what you'll be using. Totally. Yep.
Purchase confirmed. You now own a legend.
Pretty dope. I love that shit. I think that is the coolest stuff, and I'm excited for that future. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. The question is, will it be corrupted by a social credit social credit score system? According to the Rundown AI, this came from them on X, Jensen Huang at Morgan Stanley's MIT conference, he said OpenClaw is probably the single most important release of software probably ever. If you look at it, the adoption of it, Linux took some 30 years to reach this level. OpenClaw has now surpassed Linux. It is now single most downloaded open source software in history, and it took 3 weeks. So that's from Jensen Huang. That's kind of more on the AI market, the power of this. MoonPay is doing some big stuff. The future of commerce will be driven by AI agents. At MoonPay, we're giving AI agents access to non-custodial wallets and virtual accounts so they can trade and transact through a CLI. And then Caroline Pham spoke about it at the 2026 Future of Finance event. Give her a follow. I like to follow all these accounts, by the way, because you got to keep up. When you see these new articles popping out, follow these accounts. Stay up on the information. Don't be afraid to be that hyper follower. I consider myself a hyper liker, a hyper follower on Twitter X. I support the algorithm. If I like somebody's content, I'm going to like it every single time. If I support the movement, if I support the message, right? So same thing with these accounts. Follow these accounts, follow these people. These are all resourceful, intelligent people who are doing stuff. They're changing the world, the future. So let's listen to what she had to say. Again, this is Caroline Pham speaking at the Future of Finance event.
This is happening now.
This is really exciting. So last week, MoonPay also announced MoonPay Agents, which is creating, again, a developer portal where you can come in and connect your Claude bot and create your own agent that can access and
Remember, so that's coming through Claude. You also have to be careful about that because of, everything that went down with DeepSeek and all of the data transferring that happened with that. You do have to be careful with Claude. Definitely be careful, but a lot of big things happening with Claude.
spend from your MoonPay non-custodial wallet. So you set limits, it's verified, but once you set it up, you can go and do that. This is great because it's going to really, I think, open up how much of the development in AI is very much led by individual users. I mean, AI has really democratized technology and coding and development to each one of us.
There's still so many problems with AI. Like a lot of these people talking about AI agents and how powerful they are. It's like, listen, AI agents are not perfect. All these people you see on X who claim you can operate an entire business with AI agents. Yes, you can. But the amount of work and coding and knowledge base that you have to build in these AI agents, people just really have no idea how much work actually goes into it. You got to these agents need to be able to, for example, a big thing AI agents can't do today is they can't make payments. AI agents, it's difficult for an AI agent to go in there with ACL and, banking and the way things are obviously set up to, KYC, know your customer. Then it makes payments pretty much impossible. So if we're trying to automate a business, anybody who says, oh, I automate my business using AI, it's like, well, not yet, probably, because chances are you haven't mastered unless it's cryptocurrency, unless you're making money with cryptocurrency, unless the AI agent is able to connect to a crypto wallet, which is typically what you'd have to do, these AI agents aren't going to be able to make money for these businesses. Because, again, there's KYC, there's ALC, so you have to understand that there is a process that needs to be done, and AI agents are still new. The knowledge basis is still new. There's still hallucinations in the AI, and so it's not a perfect thing. So people trusting AI to do everything, this is what's going to really crush the future of AI. We need to, as human beings, control the AI, how it thinks, what it's thinking, and kind of where it's going to go. All right. And with that being said, you also need to, there's so many things that need to be fixed and done with AI agents. We need to be able to integrate payment systems. And again, a lot of that's going to be happening with XRP. A lot of that stuff is going to be happening with stablecoins. It's going to be the stablecoins and all of these different, especially that Clarity Act. When you see that Clarity Act pass, you're going to see a lot of different cryptocurrencies start to hit the moon because really it's going to be institutional inflow is going to be massive, billions of dollars going into crypto and to tokenization, all of these things. And then AI agents with that. You're going to see more AI agents come with the domination of blockchain and as crypto begins to take over, because it'll be a main way that AI agents are able to actually make money. Okay, so you'll be able to go into your Claude bot and you'll be able to say, hey, I need you to create me an AI agent that finds leads every single day. And when it finds those leads, it contacts those clients, it brings them into a sales funnel. And when they come into the sales funnel, it onboards them into our system, into our in-house, and then it also secures the payment with a crypto wallet. And it'll be something like that. It'll be so primitive, but we're so far out from this because so many people, one, don't even use crypto. Crypto is also still a new market. So all of these new markets are emerging. Okay, so when you have these CEOs and these people talking about how great they are with AI, it's like, listen, I'm an AI engineer. Okay, I build the code. I actually work with the models, and I experiment with the different models. I've used ChatGPT, I've used Anthropic, I've used Claude, I've used everything, and I've used Grok. I think Grok is the best, by the way, and I think that you're going to see that happen. Anyways, with all this being said, you need to just really be careful about AI agents. They're not perfect yet. There's still a lot that we have to do with them, but a lot of what she's saying is true.
And people talk about, agentic commerce, and people talk about what does this mean, and some people think that this is scary, but again, if we analogize it to what's come before, how many of us here in this room use recurring bill pay?
Right.
An agent kind of is like a fancier version of your recurring bill pay. You set some limits for it, you tell it what to do, it goes and it does it, it automates it, right? So I think this is kind of the future. There's some statistics that, people
for sure
wonder,
everybody's already
what
doing
does this
it.
really mean? Who's really going to
Dude, everybody's already doing it. The only people who are winning today, let me tell you, they say that all the electricians and All the carpenters and all the hands-on jobs are going to be so protected. And it's like, listen, you guys have no idea what's already being built. There's already 3D printers that can build an entire home. Okay, and they've had this for years, and they're just now rolling out these companies. Okay, so you have to understand there's so much coming with AI, and they're building soon. Within the next 10 years, every house that you have is going to be able to fix its own plumbing. It's going to be able to essentially have a built-in system that never breaks, sort of thing, and it's actually going to never break. Prototypes will break and things like that, but you're going to see so many systems. And listen, the future of AI is going to be protected by those who are controlling it. Okay, the people building AI, the people who are really trying to figure this out, who are trying to figure out the fintech side of AI, like XRP is, the company Ripple, and all these other companies, right? Like the company Quant, the cryptocurrency. A lot of big things happening. So you need to be really staying ready for this market and what's coming.
Stop this. I mean, McKinsey estimates that it could be $1 trillion in agentic payments by 2030. Other consultants think that it's going to be 15 to 25% of e-commerce is going to be agentic in nature. And so, again, we just see this as the natural evolution. We're really excited.
See, at Gold Shark Media, we actually build a lot of AI agents. And so I wanted to show you that real quick. We'll go over to goldsharkmedia.com. Exactly what she's talking about is what we build. Okay, so literally, as we speak, we have our own AI chatbot here. So as you're looking at the screen here, you're able to see, for example, what is Gold Shark Media? Let's just ask. What is Gold Shark Media? We ask our AI chatbot over here right on goldsharkmedia.com. We're a digital marketing agency. We help business owners, contractors, specifically with lead generation and all of these things. So again, we have our own ChatGPT. We have our own version of OpenAI, and we've integrated that. So I built my own AI agent for Gold Shark Media, specifically for our own CRM. Pretty cool stuff. Again, I asked it, what is Gold Shark Media? Gold Shark Media AI builds revenue-driven CRM and marketing automation systems for contractors, real estate professionals, and service-based businesses. I set up and optimize CRMs, Goal High Level, HubSpot, create lead capture and automated follow-up, SMS, email, AI voice, design booking workflows, landing pages, and pipelines, integrate calendar/payments, run PPC/SEO/website work, and provide ongoing optimization for full implementation. Contact info@goldsharkmedia.com or book a consultation via the site to get started. So this is what we do. I can help a CRM and automation plan for your business. Just say the word. And then I say, do it. Boom. So let's see. What does the AI tell me to do? You could run your whole business right from goldsharkmedia.com. Okay. Oh, yeah. We didn't train it to do. Okay. Don't pay attention to that. But we're still building our entire system here, and we're building it for maximum efficiency. We use AI agents, and a lot of what we've been doing here is to help entrepreneurs build their own CRMs, right? So let's take a look at this.
Or just paid for
Yeah, that's
our
me
plan
talking in the video.
at Gold Shark Media AI.
Yes, our goal is to help you build your business with an all-in-one AI CRM. And what this means is being able to give you a little bit more capabilities than most of these different CRMs actually are able to do. Yeah, so what is cool about this, what I love about this, is that, again, you can build your AI agents right here. Marketing, automation, websites, memberships, media storage, reputation, which is like your Google reviews right here. Reporting, obviously that's your analytics. MailChimp, so you can send a bunch of emails. Account booster, we have all of this stuff. Conversations, dashboards, obviously, to keep track of your analytics and your data. Sales and conversions, this is pretty much the everything app, right? This is kind of like Elon's everything app. You can build social media communities in here. You can build your own social media app pretty much. Anything you really want, it can all be built inside of here. And on top of it, we can either build the CRM for you, or you can use our own CRM. Again, our own CRM allows you to pretty much do all of this stuff. You can build AI agents. You can white label our software, make it your own, brand it as your own. You can have a dedicated account manager, conversational AI employees, WhatsApp, advanced omni-channel automation for full customer life cycles, branded portals for your clients and team members, performance guarantee, one job/client in 30 days or your money back, priority tech support, advanced website plus domain hosting included, and done for you or done with you setup. And we got a ton of customers here that we've helped out.
A lot of them marketing agency CEOs, a lot of them like plumbers, electricians. We had one who was a solar contractor. So yeah, definitely work with us. We also sell some merch here. I have fun selling the merch. I like the merch. I think the merch is pretty cool. And again, it's just branded merch. It's nothing special. It's just to help support the movement of Gold Shark Media, which is our goal of helping you build the American dream. Whoever you are out there, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, we turn you into an entrepreneur. We help you think like an entrepreneur. We help you build like an entrepreneur. Or if you don't want to do any of it, we just do it all for you. Okay, we set up your business so you can make passive income, and we set up your business so it's a system. All right, if you're sick of watching everybody else build AI systems and AI agents and AI software, why not just hire somebody else to do it for you? That's kind of the logic. That's exactly what Gold Shark Media is. So we build these AI agents for you. We teach you how to thrive in PR, in SEO, in website development. We do it all. We can either do it for you or we teach you how we do it. And again, if you want to become a real estate agent, again, I'm a real estate agent. You want to work with me, DM me. And if you want to become a real estate agent, you want to make more money, you want to make more income, then I made my own online course for future real estate agents. It's relevant for all 50 states. No matter who you are, you can buy this course. It's $99. I'm not going to change the price yet, at least. And I haven't changed it because I really don't feel like it right now. Okay, I don't. But we've been doing fine with it. Like, don't change what isn't broken, right? And so $99 for this entire course. You keep it for life. It's not a monthly subscription. It's a one-time buy. And you get 1,300 practice real estate questions that you'll probably see on your state exam or something like those questions. Ebooks, lesson chapters, interactive videos, PDFs for maximum value, all of it. Okay, we have an entire
Welcome to
course.
Pass for USA, your national real estate pre-licensing and state exam prep course.
We have interactive videos with this stuff.
Nova, your instructor.
Okay.
And I'll be guiding you step by step toward passing your real estate licensing exam on the very first try.
Pretty cool stuff.
You've just completed our 20 free practice questions. You've already
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. You also have 20 free practice questions on passreusa.com, passreusa.com, and you'll get 20 free practice questions, real estate state exam practice questions, and it will help you pass. Okay, the course is built for again, lesson and ebooks. It has in there. You're able to take quizzes, tests. It's got everything. And a lot of people have taken it, and we're doing pretty good with it. So it's working out for other realtors. And again, I sourced all of these questions. I didn't just like make these from AI. I actually sourced these using the textbooks that I used in my real estate courses. So very powerful. You buy the online course. Buy the online course. Just click enroll for $99. Don't worry about the limited offer until January 1st, 2026. Don't worry about that. I needed to change that. Just haven't felt like changing it yet. But it's only $99. Add to cart. It's really that simple. Add it to the cart. Check out. And then boom. And then and then you can. Okay. So before we wrap it, some of these stories, I wanted to go through here 75 plus free AI agents. These are 20 of the best ones for automating your business. I've spent years writing SOPs to handle this kind of work. It works, but it takes time. That's where AI agents are starting to change things. Here are my top 20 picks. So I love these accounts because they're always giving you good value. This is all good stuff that you need to follow if you're building AI, you're building websites, you're doing any of this kind of stuff, right? You need to focus on this. 20 free AI agents, Zapier templates, I'd hand to any operator. So again, I recommend you screenshot this. I recommend you do this. Okay, go and do it. Build this. Don't just use this as a guide. The correct way to do AI is you find what other people are doing and you go and do the same thing. So instead of following everything he's saying here, yeah, learn it, understand it, master it, but create the same thing he created here. So what did he create? He created an X post, and it contains all of, again, 20 free AI agents that he took the time to build out. So you take all this time, you build something like this, 20 free AI agents, and then you go and sell that. So really, a lot of people just don't understand you need something to sell, and AI is a great thing you can sell. A lot of people need it.
David Sachs, Patrick.
So this is a big story. Financial Services GOP released Chairman Representative French Hill on the importance of the Clarity Act. I want to thank POTUS and his top AI/crypto advisors, David Sachs and Patrick Witt, for engaging over in the Senate
and trying to find a legislative solution for them. We did that last year in the White House. We got 78 Democrats to join in the Republicans, and we passed the Clarity Act and the Genius Act. So let's see what he has to say here. This is a big day in the market, so I wanted to make this episode a little longer.
For engaging over in the Senate and trying to find a legislative solution for them. You know, we did that last year in the House. We got 78 Democrats to join the Republicans, and we passed the Clarity Act and the Genius Act with substantial margins, bipartisan. And in those bills, we had the two principles. One, that stablecoins would not pay a yield.
Yeah, so this has been a big problem. This is pretty much why the Clarity Act has not persisted in going through. Plain and simple, it's because of this yield issue. These companies want to be able to make a yield on their investments, right? They want to hold it like the stock market, right? Like you put money into the S&P 500, or you put money into a tax-free muni bond. Let's say you got $20 million. You put $20 million into a tax-free muni bond. You make $1 million a year, right? And you're making 5% a year. So that's kind of the idea.
Why? Because we view it as just a new payment token to be used on a blockchain. It's not meant to be a bank. It's not meant to be something that it's not. And so on a bipartisan basis, that's been in the Genius Act. So the Genius Act does not say that you can pay a yield on a dollar-backed stablecoin, whether you're issued by a bank or issued by a non-bank. So this issue of rewards comes up. And my best advice is that that's handled in the rulemaking by the Treasury, where bank and non-bank issuers of a dollar-backed stablecoin are treated identically when it comes to sales practices, marketing strategies, in terms of does one have an advantage over the other.
So what he's saying is that he wants the crypto market. What he's saying is that the Senate right now, they want the Clarity Act to make sense. They want it to pass so that there is able to be a yield made for these CEOs, particularly the Scott Bessents, right? They're going to benefit the most out of the stablecoin yield, right? That just leaves room for these companies to make some money themselves from holding these assets, okay? So that's really what this is all about. And then the American people also, the retail. So retail investors, that's kind of what this entire Clarity Act is all about, is, you know, fighting these anti-crypto senators and House Republicans, House Democrats, especially Elizabeth Warren types. That's kind of what we're fighting against here. And so that way, you know, crypto is not this completely dominated industry by Congress. And then next thing you know, China's wiping out America because they've made like $200 trillion in crypto over the next 20 years, right? Can't happen. It's got to be America.
Banks certainly have packaged products and provided incentives in their own business. So I think the non-bank dollar-backed stablecoin issuers and their partners and exchanges, they want to have a similar ability to package products, not unlike the banks. I think we can find a solution here.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I understand that this impasse.
Well, it's going to happen. I mean, no matter what, it's going to happen. And that's the good news. I mean, there is going to be a Clarity Act. It needs to happen. I mean, again, I always go back to how are we really going to actually take Greenland? How are we really going to afford another 20-year war with Iran? How are we actually going to control and keep control of Venezuela? How are we going to defeat the EU in trade? Well, the way that we're going to do that with our $37 trillion in debt, what did Trump say? He's going to write him a little crypto check. And that was one of the things that was said. I think that's the big plan. They're going to use XRP as essentially the new catalyst, and then many other tokens, by the way. It'll be Bitcoin, it'll be Ethereum, it'll be XRP, it'll be HBAR, it'll be XLM, it'll be Quant, it'll be, you know, all the major utility assets. What am I leaving out here? ADA Cardano will be a really big one for smart contracts. All of these assets, especially the altcoins, have been underpriced for so long because of this Clarity Act, because of the precedent that was set by Ripple, because Ripple was sued by the SEC for trying to be compliant, for trying to go out of their way to do everything right. Under the guides of the law, the company Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, went to the SEC one day and he said, hey, we want to be the crypto for banks. We want to be the crypto for the future of payments. We want to be this system that is interoperable with multiple industries across all spectrums for the United States the next financial infrastructure to stay ahead of the future markets, to stay primed for future markets, to stay ready. Cyber secure, all of these things, fast transactions, 1,500 transactions per second, cheap transactions. That's what it's all about. That's what matters to the banks. So because of all of these things, that's why all of this is going to happen inevitably.
Enters on whether these digital asset exchanges should be allowed to offer rewards programs and pay money to those who have money on the crypto platforms. But I'm wondering if, companies like Coinbase and others are coming up with new ways to pay those rewards, like in a backdoor way, because one of the issues that came up.
Well, yeah, it's a new market. It's the Wild West. Crypto is the Wild West. You have to. When there's nothing but laws built against the crypto or any kind of innovators, really, any company who has a CEO who is somewhat of an innovator, yeah, there's going to be nothing but roadblocks for those people. So in these markets, you have to create emerging markets. You have to create alternative forms of income and revenue streams. That's just what you do as a business. So backdoor ways of making money, she says, it's like, that's crazy. Every business has a backdoor of making money, right? That's kind of like saying, oh, Apple has all these backdoors of making money when they make a new charger for new devices. It's like, no, that's just another way to make money, because they know they'll make more money if they make their own devices, right? So this is just, no, that's not true. And crypto is, it's organic. It's evergreen when you think about it, at least in terms of how early it is. This is the .com boom here. This is the next Amazon, what we're seeing. And the people who are going to be the smartest and the winners at the end of this are going to be the people who are investing in this hard.
Was the idea that these companies want to pay rewards if you're in, quote unquote, a membership program, right? I mean, I spoke with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong about the issue, and here's what he said recently. Watch this.
This stablecoin reward issue is very important, and I think President Trump has showed incredible leadership here, creating a strong crypto agenda. We just got the Genius Act passed into law, which actually did enable stablecoin rewards to happen. The banks had their own concerns, and we reached a good outcome in the Genius Act. And now the banks really are coming and trying to undermine the president's crypto agenda. They're trying to protect their own profit margins, taking money out of the pockets of hardworking average Americans.
And I'll stop it there for a moment, because one thing that's important to note here is that, when I did the research, it told me that essentially passing the Clarity Act sooner than later is going to be best, because the longer you keep the Clarity Act out here and trying to fix it and make it perfect, it's just going to take years and years and years in Congress, just like the SEC lawsuit. They're going to take years and just drag this on. That's how government works. Okay, so when you have companies like Brian Armstrong, and you have these CEOs saying things like this, like, oh, well, we need to allow companies to make money on it, and we need to wait a little bit longer to pass the Clarity Act. All this does is open the door for Democrats and anti-crypto politicians to come in and crush it. Okay, and so, the better strategy, this is why I think Brad Garlinghouse has been kind of taking the lead on a lot of this, and then along with Charles Hoskinson, CEO of Cardano, together, I think they have been really the real trailblazers here, because they've been the ones trying to make crypto free for everybody, trying to make crypto make sense for the entire industry as a whole. Okay, and so Hoskinson's just did a whole rant. He believes that Brad Garlinghouse is pulling up the ladder so nobody else can get in, so to speak, meaning like all the other cryptocurrency companies. I don't think that's true at all. I think, Garlinghouse, he has an education at Harvard. Right. I think he understands that when it comes to these kind of transactions, these big, massive deals, they need to move along quickly. And then you come back to these little things later. You come back and appeal certain things later. But when it comes to things like the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, it needs to get passed right away. And then you go and make amendments later to it. But the important part is getting the precedent there. And the longer we wait to get the precedent, passing the Clarity Act, the longer we wait to do that, it crushes the entire industry as a whole, because more Democrats and anti-crypto people are going to come in and then argue against things like World Liberty Fi, Trump's coin and things like that. All right.
And putting it into the coffers of these big banks that are hitting record profits. And so
and that's where I think he's making a jab at Brad Garlinghouse, because Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, the company Ripple, is the company that is merging crypto with banks and banking. It's the banking coin, as they say, the banker's coin.
view is that there should be a level playing field where banks and crypto companies can lean into stablecoin legislation as an opportunity, and that includes paying rewards to Americans so that they can earn more money on their money.
See, I mean,
and that is an important thing. You know, you should be able to make money on your money. You should be able to have awards. You should be able to get a stable coin yield. You know, all of these things do matter.
Congressman, a couple of things here. On the one hand, isn't it in Coinbase and the crypto platforms' best interest to keep delaying this, delay? Because as we're delaying it, they are actually paying rewards. Isn't there a loophole in the Genius Act because of a third-party player that enables them to actually pay a reward right now? So they can delay all they want and still pay rewards, even though what you just said is supposed to be what we're talking about, whereas everybody's on the same playing field, nobody's going to pay rewards. So there's that. And number two is this backdoor idea that, you know, the crypto companies can say, okay, we won't pay rewards, but if you're part of a membership program, you're getting a reward.
Yeah. So isn't that crazy? Like, it is crazy. Like, we need to control this market and what's coming with it.
And then the third thing I want to ask you about is the fact that there's not the same playing rules. I mean, you look at any bank, you go to any bank, and we see very clearly it says FDIC insured, right? They have deposit insurance. We know a bank is FDIC insured. You don't have that with the crypto platforms, do you?
No. Well, then the dollar-backed stablecoins are simply backed by those FDIC-insured deposits or U.S. Treasuries as their backstop. And that's why I say the whole purpose of this was to create a dollar-backed payment stablecoin as a token to be
XRP
used in payments on a blockchain. It wasn't per se to create a whole new...
The key word he just said there is payments. That's why I said XRP. XRP equals payments. Bitcoin equals digital gold reserve is the way you should think of it.
Financial device beyond that, and it to be used by both fintech companies as well as banks. Here's my view, Maria. We need sales practice on a level playing field. And secondly, I think when banks tokenize deposits, some of this issue will go away.
Okay, Congressman, thank you for clearing that up.
Bet.
I know there's a lot of nuances here, so I'm glad.
And that's kind of what's happening with that. So what do you guys think? I know I took a little bit longer to cover that one, but I think it's just that important. I thought this was funny. Electricians, plumbers, and HVAC technicians watching AI wipe out nearly every job. I thought this was hilarious. This is so accurate, so true. Oh my God. So just brutal to play videos sometimes. Brutal. We're trying. Okay. Well, I guess it's just not going to work. There we go. We'll just play it like this. Yeah, electricians, plumbers, and HVAC technicians watching AI wipe out every other job. Yep. Probably what it feels like, right? Probably what it feels like. You're dodging those bullets. You're dodging the bullets. From Doge Designer, you just press Grok icon on any X post and it will analyze for you and research it as much as you want just by tapping the Grok icon. So yeah, he's telling you how to use Grok.
You can assess whether that post.
Grok is important. Grok is this is why I think X is the best social media platform. It's the reason I wanted to talk about this post a little bit because, again, Grok is just the best fact-checking platform. So what I just did here, as you can see,
any X post.
Did exactly what Elon's saying. I pressed the Grok button. It's top right-hand corner of this post here. Okay, you'll find it on every post. It's a little Saturn icon. And then it tells you everything you need to know. It gives you the gestalt and the overall summary of what happened, a little bit of a quote in there. And then it tells you the contents of what's in there. And then you could just say, rate this on accuracy. Right? So rate this on accuracy. Sorry, just butchering the typing here. Rate this on accuracy. How true is this? Grok, is this true? I love when people say that on X. Grok, is this true? Is this true? It's like, oh my God. You can't just ask it in a different way, you know? Yeah, so don't mind my typos here. Rate this on accuracy. I'm a fast typer. So now Grok is basically sourcing all of this data, all the information of this post, and basically accumulating an answer for us. So it's going to tell us how honest and factual and truth-driven this post is, okay? Unless it's still, it's taking a long time to load right now. Again, it could just be Grok. It could just be because I'm streaming, of course, because it's got to be terrible luck. Anyways, I'm trying to use Grok right now, but it's being a little slow. Usually it doesn't take this long to do this, so what I'll do is, when it takes this long, I'll just try to restart the question. So copy and paste again, just copy and paste my question again, and then there you go. So sometimes it just glitches out. It's actually never really does that for me. Grok is pretty awesome. But the reason I love Grok so much is because it does have a powerful fact-checking platform. Okay? And so like versus Facebook, where it has a bunch of people sitting behind a computer screen fact-checking your stuff, this actually takes the time to analyze and look for different sources, right? So kind of like ChatGPT, but the only difference is X is just definitely less restricted on free speech. It's definitely more accurate. So the overall accuracy rating is a 7 out of 10 here. Why this score? The core functionality, tapping with Grok to analyze and research a post, is real and works well for many users, helping with context, summaries, and basic fact-checking. However, it's not always a foolproof truth assessor, and claims about being very good at piercing through propaganda are subjective. Grok performs decently but can miss nuances, show inconsistencies, and rely on biased sources. It's helpful but not infallible. Real-world feedback shows mixed results with strength in speed and X integration, but weakness in handling complex or controversial topics. Yeah, and I would agree with that, right? There's a lot of controversial topics on X we could go into now. And if you want to go into those controversial topics, follow me on Ecker Geopolitics, where I talk about politics, talk about news, talk about the more edgy stuff. We talk about more of the things that you're not supposed to talk about on these standard platforms, right? But on this channel, Brendan Ecker, every morning at 11, Monday to Thursday, I talk about business. Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I talk about politics.
Analyze it for you and research it as much as you want. So you can basically have, just by tapping the Grok icon, you can assess whether that,
again, this is how you use Grok,
is the truth, the whole truth, or nothing but the truth, or whether there's something supplemental you need to be explained. So I think it's actually, we've made a lot of progress towards,
and it has. Grok is amazing
and
for
people
fact
being
checking.
able to tell whether
Open
something is
source
false or not
X.
false. Propaganda. The recent update to Grok is actually, I think, very good at piercing through propaganda. And then we used that latest version of Grok to create Grokopedia. It's not just.
How would you guys rate Grok? Leave it in the chat. How would you rate Grok? Again, this was breaking news. Stealing oil to looting gold. The U.S. is draining Venezuela's treasures. 1,000 kilograms or 1 ton of Venezuelan gold is being shipped to the U.S. in a massive brokered deal. Axios claims the deal benefits Venezuela by giving them access to U.S. markets. Okay. We just stole all their gold. Trump admin facilitates a large gold order between the U.S. and Venezuela with up to 1,000 kilograms of gold to be shipped to the U.S. So I wonder if this was the gold that Trump was talking about. Is this where the gold went? You know, remember when Trump said he was going to go and get the gold, him and Elon, they were going to go get the gold back that they had stole from all the people. Yeah, well, is this it? Could this be it? JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon said in a CNBC interview that crypto exchanges offering yields is unfair. Banks want competition, but only on a level playing field. Cool, then let's make it fair. Abolish fractional reserves and back deposits. 1-to-1 like stablecoins must happen under the Genius Act. Your move, banks. So this is what
we're moving a lot of data now
Jamie
using
Dimon had to say. Let's take a listen.
And we want competition. We're actually one of the biggest users of blockchain. And we created the JP Morgan deposit coin. We've moved money real-time payments. We're moving a lot of data now using blockchain. So we're in favor of competition, but it's got to be fair and balanced, level playing field.
It just showed Circle, by the way. And it's important to note that Ripple, the company Ripple, nearly acquired Circle for, I believe it was $8 billion or $11 billion. That was the offer that was made. So important to note that. Again, this was just 20 hours ago from Watcher Guru. But again, this is Trump making his statements on the crypto,
which is very important,
industry. Trump is pro-crypto. Whether or not you like Trump, what I love about Trump, he is such a capitalist. He is a total business. He is such a business guy, probably to his own detriment, to America's detriment. He cares about money too much. But with that being said, he knows where the money's at, and he knows that crypto is where the money's at. He knows that crypto is the future. The question is this administration going to corrupt crypto with like World Liberty Fi and all of these different projects? Is that going to hurt the industry and the reputation of cryptocurrency. Certainly when you're making $5 billion or something like that in one night. I think that's something around that number was what Trump coin made. I don't know about that. How good is that? But let's listen to what Trump had to say here again, one more time.
Very important. In crypto, we want to be dominant. We want to be dominant in everything
we want to be dominant.
do.
Crypto should be the dominant force of the industry for sure, of America. We have to be the leading charge behind it. CNBC announces live that the U.S. Federal Reserve is now directly connected to crypto for the first time in history. Ripple is about to become a national trust bank. Crypto goes mainstream. This is actually crypto. This is Kraken news, though. But I did want to play this video just because this is huge news for Kraken. They just gained direct access to ACL or ALC payments.
Chartered bank, Kraken Financial, just became the first crypto bank to get a Federal Reserve master account. Now, master accounts allow financial institutions to access key central bank services like payment settlement platforms, FedNow, and FedWire.
Big news. Big news.
Said in a statement that the approval would let the company operate as a directly connected financial institution rather than a peripheral participant. Other crypto companies have tried and failed to win approval for a master account. Most famously, Custodia Bank sued the Federal Reserve after repeatedly being denied an account. An appeals court denied
Kraken did get an account.
back in November 2025.
So what does that tell us about the Kraken crypto exchange? They're making moves that others are not. Breaking U.S. Treasury just bought back another $2.46 billion of its own debt. Like, how does this work? Can I buy back my debt? Like, can we all buy back our debt? Like, we're all in debt as average Americans, as wealthy Americans, whatever. I mean, if we're not the 1%, probably have debt. A lot of people have debt, right? It's like, can we all just wipe out our debt? Like, I got college student loan debt. Can I wipe out my debt? Can I wipe out my debt, Treasury, Federal Reserve? Oh yeah, please. Can I wipe that out? It's like, no, you can't. But they can wipe out their debt anytime they want. Why? Because they can just print money whenever they want. The U.S. government is a scam, and you have to understand that. The IRS proposes allowing crypto exchanges to deliver tax forms electronically. Oh, of course they will, right? The IRS has to know how much crypto you have and everything. And this will be the negative side effects, by the way, of the Clarity Act, is that it does allow the IRS and the government to, and the banks, of course, they're going to have a lot more control over crypto. But on the flip side, that's what's going to make the prices go up, most likely. Okay, that official legitimacy. $40 billion has been wiped out from crypto markets in just 60 minutes. That's crazy. Crazy story there. AI can now track missiles and aircraft in real time. I thought this was a crazy post. Again, we got to cover the Iran war as we're covering the markets here. I know we're almost 2 hours in, but so much news, so much news that I didn't really get to cover yesterday. Again, look at that. We have technology today that can literally track the route of missiles. Look at that. Exactly where it hit. Boom. And then all the locations of the hits. So this is where Israel's been taking hits in Tel Aviv. Look at all those missile strikes. Crazy. Crazy. So what do you guys think about the war in Iran? Leave a comment. What do you guys think about all of this? Russia will do everything to create an atmosphere that will make U.S. and Israel operations against Iran impossible. So Russia seems to be siding against the United States and Israel. That's good. We don't want to be in a war with Iran. It doesn't help the crypto markets. It doesn't help the gold markets. It helps the oil markets a little bit, but not long term, right?
That will make this operation impossible.
So let's take a listen to this video. Important news update here. Russia is siding against the United States and Israel here.
Our strategic partners, and we'll continue to maintain dialogue with these countries, and we'll do our best to, including with other countries of the international community, in the United Nations Security Council, and the United Nations General Assembly.
Again, Russia is teaming up against the United States and Israel, which honestly they should. I don't want to go to a war with Iran. I don't want my kids fighting in a war for Israel to go and fight Iran. Sorry, not interested in it.
We will do everything to create an atmosphere.
And it's just crazy to me.
Will make this operation impossible.
It's crazy to me that we've ever even been enemies with Russia. Never should we ever be enemies with Russia. They're the second largest nuclear holder, right? Why are we not super allies with Russia. Russia should be our greatest ally. They're on the other side of the planet. Imagine the power we could have if Russia, the second largest nuclear superpower, it's over. It'd be game over. If Russia and the United States were allies, it's game over. It's the end of everybody else. I mean, no offense to everybody else, but that would be the ultimate, the ultimate alliance. Again, just in, the U.S. has spent $5.3 billion on the war with Iran in just 6 days. And here they tell you that they can't afford mass deportations. They can't afford the border wall. They can't afford all these things. Why? Well, they got to pay for a war. Crazy. That tells you everything you need to know. $5.36 billion. Insane. That's where we are at. That is where we are going. That is what the money is being spent on that you pay taxes for. Britney Spears arrested in California. That's weird. 2019, Vladimir Putin personally drove to the sea bottom to honor World War II submarine crew lost in the Gulf of Finland. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Recession will be the first official remake in Assassin's Creed franchise. This has nothing to do with business or news, but I thought it was awesome. And because, I'm kind of a video game nerd myself. I don't play video games these days anymore. I'm kind of way too busy. But the goal is to become a multimillionaire. When I become a multimillionaire, then I will allow myself to play video games again. But this is the trailer. I'm not any of the audio just because I don't want to get copyright. But looks pretty cool. Looks pretty exciting. I like a good video game every now and then. We got some Nick Fuentes clips. We got Israel news. Again, I'm going to cover all of these clips on Ecker Geopolitics, where we talk about the war in Iran, where we talk about the oil markets and really what's everything that's going on with that. We talk about the Epstein files. We talk about all the deep red pill stuff, okay? So Ecker Geopolitics, subscribe to that YouTube channel. And if you want daily business updates, follow me at Brendan Ecker, my original YouTube channel. And with that being said, I have nothing else for you. Been a good episode today. Been a long episode, but ultimately it's important. It's important to cover these topics because where are we going, right? Where are we heading with crypto? Where is the future heading? Well, it's heading into a world where we need to be ready all the time. Need to be prepared all the time. Need to be investing in digital assets in terms of, protecting your family maybe. Too much happening today. And so you got to be aware of what's going on. Don't be the average 9-to-5 person who isn't paying attention. Okay, be alert, be engaged, be urgent. That's what this show's about. I have very low audience because we're just starting this whole live streaming thing. I'm just starting this entire journey of really covering markets and doing the analysis because that's really what I do. It's what I've always been good at. It's kind of been where I've always been skilled. I study markets. I'm an analyst. Okay, it's kind of what I've been trained in. And so that's what we cover. We cover the world. We cover the information that you're not supposed to talk about at work. We cover the information that maybe, this is a show for the red-pilled audience. This is definitely a show for your higher IQ audience. This is a show for people who want to know what's going on. And I cover everything I possibly can every single day, Monday to Thursday, 11 a.m., and then Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And that's on the Ecker Geopolitics. We cover everything because everything connects, okay? A lot of people told me I shouldn't do this channel because, politics, people don't want to hear about politics. People aren't interested in politics. Well, you can't change anything about politics, and that's not true. Okay, the elites don't think that. The elites don't think that way. The elites understand that they can change the world. The elites understand that if they know enough about the markets that are happening, you can make money from those markets, A, and B, you can control those markets. The more knowledge you have, the more power you can have, right? And so our show, this show, anybody who watches this show is smart. Anybody who stays tuned into this show, you're going to learn about the most trending stories. You'll get my insights, my analysis, what I think about it based on my law enforcement experience, based on my analyst experience, based on being a realtor myself, an entrepreneur, a CEO. I've done a lot of stuff, and I have experience doing a lot of it. I've kind of worked in a bunch of different industries. I kind of bounce around in a lot of different industries. I have quite a unique network of people that I associate with and talk to, but I'm also very isolated. I'm very much an introvert, and I do this for a reason because it allows me to cover this news, this analysis, and eventually, at a certain point, when I do reach a certain point of notoriety, when we do have a big enough audience, what will likely happen is I will likely end up getting banned at some point. So the people who are following this channel, you should follow it now. You should follow it while it's fresh, while the algorithm isn't paying attention, because everything we talk about, again, we talk about crypto. We talk about the Clarity Act. We talk about the Epstein files. We talk about Trump and whether or not we're going to a war for Israel instead of America. We talk about these things. We talk about things that are not, we talk about uncensored things. We talk about things that, we talk about the truth. We seek the truth. A big reason I love using X, the app X, the reason I like using that to analyze information and data is because that's where the newest information and data is. It's on X. X is where people are changing the world. X is where the future is happening. So a lot of my analysis, I cover the stories that are happening and trending on X. That's where everybody's at. X is going to be the everything app, by the way. X has just started Twitter, okay? Modern day Twitter. It's only begun. I don't think people understand that Twitter X is going to be the next Google. It's going to be the next YouTube. It already is becoming that. And when I look at the metrics, when I look at the numbers of views, that's what I pay attention to. Again, as an entrepreneur, as an AI systems builder, I have to. As a digital marketing CEO, I have to pay attention to all the different social media platforms, who's going up, who's growing up, so to speak. And I see Twitter X being the future of this market. Twitter X, with its open source platform, with its community notes platform, that ability to fact check information, and with Grokpedia, all of these different features that are built for truth seeking. And then also its ability to have discipline and not to just fall into ChatGPT narratives when it comes to more cutting edge issues, right? Like, let's specifically talk about, we're talking about Israel. We talk about something very, very controversial as an example here. Well, what I love about Grok is that Grok will give you an honest response to what these things are, at least a more honest response and a less sugar-coated, censored response. As of today, as of March 5th, 2026, Twitter X is the most honest and truth-seeking AI, in my opinion. And then it also leaves me to wonder, what is the future of ChatGPT, by the way? Because now they're instituting a system where anybody who runs ads, well, those ads will pop up in your ChatGPT responses. I don't like that. Okay, the reason I love X is because it is open source, it's honest, it's truth-seeking, as much as it possibly can be, and it almost like tries to check itself, right? Earlier in this episode, we analyzed one of Elon Musk's own posts, or a Doge designer's posts. We analyzed that Grok post where he taught us how to use Grok in that post. And guess what? When we asked Grok to rate Grok on its accuracy, on its honesty, on its truth-seeking abilities, Grok still didn't even give us a 10 out of 10. It gave us a 7 out of 10. It was very honest for itself. Pretty good. And ChatGPT might have given you a 10 out of 10, right? And I guess we'd have to try that out in a different episode. But with all this being said, we're covering the Iran war on this show. We're covering crypto. We're covering all of the emerging markets and everything that's really happening in our country, everything that's happening in the world. I think all of these things are some of the most important things to cover, because if you don't, then history repeats itself. And those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. So with that being said, I'll leave you with that thought. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, support the show. And I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. where we talk about the biggest stories happening on X, happening in the world. And I'll see you later.